a trend that I've seen in medicine that has to do with our failing immune system, and that relates to diet, dependence on a big pharmacy, and looking for health as being something that somebody else does to us, or we buy and take from them rather than taking care of ourselves.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joy Gypsies TV. I'm your host, Jackie Ambro, and
I'm your other host, Xochitl.
Do you have a last name?
I do.
Cool.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
It's my mom.
And we are interviewing one of our best friends who has been in our lives since I was pregnant with her. That's a long time. And so we want to bring on Dr. Dana Wicks, and she is a physician with over 35 years of experience. And she's going to tell you more about herself, but basically she is right there on the front lines with what's happening with coronavirus. She has a lot of great insights, and we really want you to get a good idea what's happening directly from her. So Dana, would you tell us more about you?
My voice is a little hoarse from my allergies, so bear with me. I live in Missouri right now, and our allergy count is off the walls, which means everybody's got sniffles and clearing their throat and runny eyes and scaring the bejesus about everybody else because they're going, oh my gosh, I wonder if that's it. You know, it's a terrible thing to be living in this kind of scenario where we can't trust the people that we just see on the street. But, you know, I grew up in a small city in North Dakota and went to part of my medical school in North Dakota and finished in New Mexico and then ended up in Missouri. When I was growing up, my dad was the director of public health for first Alaska, then New Mexico, then the city of Kansas City. So I grew up hearing about public health issues, epidemics, risks, and preparedness. And unfortunately, right now, I'm feeling like we are totally unprepared, and clearly we've dismantled a lot of the structure that we had for preparedness in public health. And a lot of that happened during the Trump administration. Now we're faced with making some decisions on a local basis because we're not getting much guidance from up above from our federal government, except how to protect property and the economy, which is important, but what's more important now is saving lives.
That's right, saving lives. And I think we just heard today that Dr. Fauci was saying we could have 200,000 people die from this. I saw in the news this morning. And what's your take on that? Do you think it has to be that bad?
Well, I think if you just look at the statistics coming in from China, they're talking about 1% across the ages. So certainly there might be lower risk with a younger person, higher risk with an older person. But I'm also a little concerned because I'm seeing that here in America, we have many more young people succumbing to the COVID virus than was reported in, say, China. And I don't think it's just because of kids running around and doing things. I think there's a wave and a trend that I've seen in medicine that has to do with our failing immune system. And that relates to diet. It relates to dependence on a big pharmacy to cure us, and looking for health as being something that somebody else does to us, or we buy and take from them rather than taking care of ourselves. And
you're a little different than some of the physicians out there because you have a background in anthropology as part of your undergrad training. You did that. You know, I'm an anthropologist. And I know that you're looking at this differently in terms of the whole system that our culture functions on. And can you talk a little bit more about that system and where the cracks in it are?
Well, if you look at the history of autoimmune disease, say, which we have understood since about World War II as being serious things like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis. These are all problems in the immune system that have a combination of our physical musculoskeletal body being affected by what's going on in our gut. Now, the understanding of that by some people who have looked at this was the physical trauma, the malnutrition that the Jewish people underwent in the concentration camps showed up with actual change in the next generation's genetic predisposition toward yet more autoimmune disease. Now, we have plenty of wars and strife in the world, but taking that as a separate issue and looking at what are Americans doing badly and differently, it's our diet. The fact that we have so many processed foods, we have many chemicals in our diet, we use a ton of herbicides and pesticides. These are accumulating in our body, and over time, what that's done is disturbed our immune system. But some of the primary things are what happens in the gut and how the gut microbiome ceases to function to protect us, gives up, and starts fighting ourselves. That essentially is what an autoimmune disease is. You're fighting yourself.
So what would you want our audience to know? What can people do right now to strengthen their immune system or to be healthier so that they can ward off a virus we've never seen before?
I think this is going to be kind of difficult as I think about it. People are stocking up on canned goods that are high in sodium. They're packing away things like processed cake mixes, things that have unknown to most people very bad fats, as bad as the trans fats in these mixes. And whether you want to look at it being gluten-free, looking like it's better for you, or it's Betty Crocker, all of these processed foods use some techniques and preservatives that we've found over time impair the immune system. So the more that people can stay, again, to the simple basics of fruits and vegetables, raw, cook them yourself, fix them yourself. The availability might go down, but you still should choose those over the other things that you're going to snack on that might have things that impair your immune system more. And then try to pick as much, knowing where you're getting your meats and your proteins from, whatever you're using as your protein source. That the less GMO, the less, the more organic, and the more you can make those choices and do the best you can with what might be a limited supply, the better off you're probably going to be.
Right. And I know a lot of people are trying to go to the store just a whole lot less often, or they're having delivery. But it's also possible to supplement what you're getting fresh, especially if supply goes down, with frozen things, because frozen fruits and vegetables still retain a great deal of their nutrient content, unlike some of the canned stuff. And it's less processed. The processing you end up doing is at home, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think it's a good point. And a lot of people don't have freezers. We stopped having those many years ago because we thought we were always going to have supply in abundance. Now I think a lot of people are re-looking at that and thinking, maybe they should have thought ahead a little bit more. The preparedness of America has gone down. We've gone pretty complacent with thinking that somebody else is going to make things for us, send us the food, have it on the shelves, make sure it's stocked. Now you're going to be faced with making some choices. So all you can do is make the best choices that you can. Know and support your local farmers, and keep the faith that if we do those things, we can be healthy enough to not make this virus affect us more than it already could.
Right. Now, I'm hoping that we will have time over the coming weeks to meet with you through Zoom like this and to bring it to our YouTube channel. So about once a week, we're going to be interviewing you again. And is there anything you'd like people to be thinking about between now and the next time we chat about any part of the situation, or what can we do to improve things?
Well, I think that we still need to keep working on the government to stop polluting the environment, stop trying to support the corporations over the small person, and look for local solutions wherever we can.
Yeah, and I think you agree with us, because we've had lots of conversations over the years about these things, that there's still a lot of power within the individual, even though it's a scary time. But it is our individual choices. We know this is in anthropology. It's our individual choices that make up the change in the culture, right? So,
Right.
And you're doing that right now by taking the time to talk with people through this channel and other means that you're using through social media to let people know that there are other ways of making choices for society and for our culture. We appreciate you.
Well, I've enjoyed talking with you, many conversations, and I know this is very brief and may leave people with more questions than answers, but that is the era that we're in. We're waiting to figure out what's going on, and you have to give science enough time to figure this out. Making a rash decision is always going to be the wrong thing to do, and we've already seen that in America.
Right. We know that rash decisions come from fear. And going into survival mode doesn't allow us to tap into the creative potential that we have in our minds. And our channel will be talking about that more. You and I have already talked about that. And this is part of what we want to get out there is what can we change in ourselves that will make a difference in the world. So you're making a big difference in the world. We appreciate you serving in the capacities that you're in, and taking care of patients and taking care of yourself so you stay safe.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Dana Wicks. We're going to let you go because we know that your time's short today, but we'll see you again next week. Any parting words?
Stay in, stay safe.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk
Thank
with
you
you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.